What's going on, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and apologize. There's a bunch of animals around me. There's horses off to my right. There's chickens like 30 feet behind y'all. There's dogs around. I'm on a farm, so if y'all hear background animal noises, I do apologize for the inconvenience. Just bear with me. I'll do my best I can. So I'm just gonna go over the setup that y'all see behind me right here. This is what a lot of people would consider a GPR, or general purpose rifle, or you know, whatever acronym you want to put on it. So what it is a 12.5 inch lead and steel all around carbine. So it's a 12.5 inch 5.56, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, full disclosure, Lead and Steel did send me the rifle as well as their LP1, not for YouTube. They actually had no idea I was doing a video because they sent it like a year ago and I was not on YouTube at that time. They sent it for pictures. So for those that don't know, my Instagram is Operator Overalls, one word. I take pictures and videos for a lot of cool companies. So a lot of what I go over today was provided to me just in trade of content. There's no stipulations or rules on it, but I did not pay for almost anything on this rifle, and so we'll go over that now. I'm just going to do a quick rundown over it. So again, this is the Lead and Steel all around carbine. It's a 12.5 inch 5.56. Now the Lead and Steel uppers are built by HM Defense. So this particular upper, it's a 12.5 inch, it's a 1 1/8 twist barrel, I do believe, and what's kind of unique about it is the gas block is machined into the barrel. So there's no chance of failure that can come of the gas block because it's machined into the barrel. So that's where a lot of your issues with an AR-15 is going to happen. It's going to be somewhere the gas block, the gas tube, and the gas system. So by machining that gas block into the barrel, you're taking out one possibility, so that gas block is not able to move. You ain't got to worry about it coming off alignment of the gas port. So anyways, as I said, the rifle was provided for me. It has been converted into an SBR, so the lower is SBR'd. On the top of it, I have the Zerotech Vengeance 1-6. Again, this scope was provided. I take pictures for Zerotech. They're one of my favorite clients or partners, or whatever you want to say. It's sitting in a Warne 193 mount. The mount was provided by Warne. It has a Surefire Scout up front. The Surefire was not provided for me. I forget the exact model, but it's the Scout. On the front, I've got an Otter Creek Labs polo-k. The can was provided for me. Actually, not even for pictures. It's just because Andrew's a sweetheart and I tickled his fancy. That sounded horrible. But no, the can was provided for me. Just Andrew's just a generous guy, and I do love him. And it is on a Rearden Atlas QD system. Do it off camera because YouTube is sensitive. So it is the Atlas adapter, and this is the Rearden R2S, I want to say. It's like an A1 flash hider. So this is the Plan B system, is what the Rearden devices are. Throw this back on. And also I have the Wooks micarta scales on it just to help mitigate heat a little bit. On the bottom we have an Arca rail because I do like to run tripods. I got a B5 Bravo stock and then just a Magpul sling. The grip is the Black Collar Prometheus or something like that. So anyways, that's about the whole setup. Everything else is, well, that is everything. So for the longest time, I did run this 12.5 inch with the LP1 mounted on it. And I do love this red dot, or holographic, I think it's a red dot. I do love this optic. I had absolutely no issues with it. Lead and steel, I know that there's a lot of controversy around that company. They did not pay me anything. They didn't offer to pay me anything. I messaged about a year ago, well, it's probably been a little over that now, when I was looking to get a 12.5 inch 5.56. I messaged about theirs, and he's like, hey, you want me to send it out to you? I was like, absolutely. He's like, you want me to send you a lower or just the upper? I said, go ahead and send the whole thing. And then when I went to pick it up, the LP1 was also in there. So there was no sort of agreement on our ends on what I couldn't say, couldn't do. I just provided some pictures for them to use on social media and, well, across platforms. So I have run this for the most part, and I just recently threw on the 1-6 just to kind of get a good feel for both of them to see what I like. I've run LPVOs in the past, and I've got no complaints as long as it's good glass, got a good eye box, which is what this Zerotech Vengeance 1-6 has. This is probably my favorite LPVO I've ever run. And when you look at the price, it's pretty unbelievable. But the glass clarity that it has is phenomenal. The eye box is huge. I mean, there's no problem at all. I am easily 99% just as fast with the LPVO as I was the red dot. Got a good reticle in it. I do kind of wish that it was mils, even though I don't shoot it at distance that much, so it doesn't really matter, but it is an MOA reticle. It's illuminated. It's easily daylight bright illumination. Yeah, it's an awesome optic, so I'm just kind of getting a feel for that. And so that's what I've been running on it for the last 2 months, I would say. I do plan to put this LP1, the Promethean, I do plan to continue to use it. Probably throw it on like a shorty 300 blackout, something really short that I know for a fact I'm not going to shoot out a distance. But this is an awesome red dot. Just because I'm sure somebody will ask, the tripod that it's mounted on is the 2Vets Recon V2 LSI. The I stands for inverted. This is probably my favorite tripod that I have from 2Vets. They're another company that I do take pictures for, so the tripods that you see on my channel I do not pay for. Again, just trying to be completely transparent with y'all, but they do not send me stuff for YouTube. Everything that I've gotten has been strictly for pictures for them to use. So that's, it's not really a payment. It's we're trading. I like posting stuff, taking pictures of stuff, so they send it, I take pictures of it, get to use it, and then they get to use the pictures. Pretty sweet little deal that I've got going with several companies. But anyways, why 12.5? Well, I tried a 10.3, and I know that's about as short as you possibly want to go with 5.56. Once you get shorter than that, you really start running into some issues. You're getting basically no powder burn. So 10.3 is about as short as you possibly want to go, but I felt really cramped up on the gun. When I'm trying to get into it. Now, I'm not a big fella, but for I think 5 years straight, the only AR that I ran was an 18-inch. So I could get my hand all the way out there. So when I dropped to a 10.3, I felt like I was really just scrunched up on the gun, didn't like it, wasn't clearing houses, still not clearing houses. I don't need a gun that short. I like to have a little bit of velocity, but I still wanted a short gun. So when you jump up to an 11.5 from the 10.3 or 10.5, you jump up with about 40% more performance, but you're still running a carbine length gas system. So by jumping up to a 12.5, not only am I giving myself a little bit more velocity, it's not another 40% jump, but I gain a little bit more velocity, a little bit more energy over the 11.5, and get a little bit longer rail. And as you can see, I'm kind of maxed out on the bottom here, so I do appreciate having a little bit longer rail. But when you go to a 12.5, you can get a mid-length gas system. So what you get with a mid-length gas system is it's going to run a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother, a little bit more reliable. It's not as harsh on the parts. So for instance, like a 10.3 or 10.5, the short gas system is such a violent gun and it does have its place, but it does wear through parts a lot faster than the longer systems do. So the 12.5, you get the mid-length gas system, which really just smooths out the whole thing. I'm used to running a rifle length gas system. Like I said, I run the 18-inch 5.56 for how many ever years, 5-6 years. So I was really used to that longer gas system, you know, super smooth, super clean, reliable. So the mid-length is the next traditional gas length underneath the rifle length. There's some funky stuff in there, I'm sure. But you drop down to the mid-length, so it's not that different from the rifle length. So when you're running it suppressed, the longer gas system that you've got, the better it's going to run. Suppressed and unsuppressed, it can kind of do both of them equally well. You don't have any gas issues. So running this polo-k from Otter Creek Labs, it's not a flow-through can or anything like that. So you are getting more back pressure than like a flow-through can, but it's not so violent like if it was on a 10.3 that had just a, you know, your standard gas system and everything. You might run into a couple issues. I don't know for sure, but you know, there are people that run into issues. Whereas on this mid-length, I don't change a thing whether I'm running it suppressed or unsuppressed. It performs flawlessly either way. I've got a couple thousand rounds on it now, and I would say there's been less than 100 rounds shot through it unsuppressed. It's basically lived suppressed the entire time that I've had it. The only time the suppressor's not on it is when it's on my 18-inch. But again, I have had absolutely no issues with this 12.5 inch. The lead and steel all-around carbine, it's performed flawlessly. With that little bit longer barrel, getting a little bit more velocity, you get a mid-length gas system, which is a lot smoother than a carbine length gas system. So as I said, this is my what a lot of people would consider general purpose or GPR. And I do think the 12.5 is a phenomenal length if you are looking for just one rifle. I can't say this is my main go-to rifle, but for, you know, carbine work, if you will. I'm not an operator, I'm not clearing houses, I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff, just your average dude. I take out more animals than anything else. So if you're shooting, you know, living things, that 12.5 over say an 11.5 is going to give you a little bit more energy on target. Definitely going to give you more energy than a 10.5. And if you're going, okay, if you're following SBR laws and whatnot, I'm not a legal expert and I'm not giving legal advice. If you're following those laws, you know, a lot of people like to do a 13.7 because then you can do a pin and welded muzzle device and still reach the 16 legal inches. But you're still at 16 inches. So you're talking a matter of muzzle devices. So in my opinion, if you are going to follow those laws, you might as well just go ahead and get the 16 inch. We're talking the difference between muzzle devices. You understand what I'm saying? You're at 13.7, but then you pin and weld the muzzle device on. So now you're still at 16. A 16-inch barrel is going to be the same length plus whatever muzzle device you put on it. But you can take that muzzle device off and you can run different systems, different suppressors. If you want to do a direct thread suppressor, which is, I do like direct thread suppressors, but if you're moving around and whatnot, then you do need to change the, you know, you need to do a muzzle device that's acceptable of whatever system you're running. So if you're gonna do, if you want a rifle and you're trying to follow the laws and you don't want to file anything, and again you want the rifle and you're going to follow those laws, in my opinion, go ahead and get the 16 inch. Go ahead and have a muzzle device that you can change out, and then you still get more velocity than say a 13.7. 13.7 is not getting much more energy than, or velocity or energy than this 12.5, but now you've got a stupid pin and welded muzzle device on the end of it. So there's a pretty big difference between a 16 inch and this 12.5. The 16 inch is pretty similar in length to this 12.5 inch with the K-size suppressor on the end of it. So that's what you're getting, a very similar length to a 16 inch barrel. I think it's actually almost identical. I would have to lay my 16 inch down next to it, but it's about identical. So now I've got the same size rifle as a 16 inch, except now I'm suppressed. Now it doesn't have the energy that a 16 inch does. If I want to go down even shorter, I take the suppressor off. Super compact package. It's about as short as I would possibly ever need. Still got a long enough rail that I can get my hand out far enough on it to where I feel like I've got good control. So I think 13.7 and the 14.5 and all that, you know, those are great lengths. My only complaint is if you're going to follow those laws and you're going to do a pin and welded device, I would assume just go ahead and get the 16-inch. That's just my opinion though. But I didn't want a 13.7 and a 14.5 because if I was going to do that, then I would just get a 16-inch. I wanted something shorter than that. Didn't want a 10.3 or 10.5 because those are kind of garbage. 11.5, getting better. Still not quite there because it's got a carbine length gas system, and you know, it's just a little bit too short for me. So jump up to the 12.5 inch. So now I've got a mid-length gas system. You know, I'm getting closer to that 14.5 performance, but I'm still a little bit shorter. Whoop. Can't do it on camera. You know, so then when I throw the suppressor on it, you know, I'm right here at about the length of a 16-inch rifle. The 16-inch is what I consider to be the best, like, do it all. If you're only gonna have one, what I would recommend is a 16-inch. You can do just about anything you would possibly need to do with a 16-inch rifle. That's something that that a lot of AR people don't understand, myself included. I say I don't understand it, but I'm sitting here talking about it. We kind of forget that you can do, you know, with a 16-inch rifle, 5.56, you know, we're talking intermediate cartridges, 5.56 and whatnot. With a 16-inch rifle, you can do just about anything that you need to do. It's not going to be ideal if you got to do CQB or you need something compact, which, let's be real, none of us are really clearing houses unless we're doing it for a living. And if you're doing it for a living, then you're not looking for my opinion. But for the average person, you know, the average civilian, 16-inch rifle is plenty fast enough as far as velocity, so you're getting good energy, you know, to reach out there as far as you would probably need to reach out there. Small enough that you can maneuver it around a house. But for whatever reason, AR people seem to forget that. We're a little bit spoiled and picky, and we need a 10.3, 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 13.7, 14.5, 16, 18, 20, you know, we need every single one of them, and then multiple of each size with different optics on it, because we've got to have this one for this specific use and this one for this specific use. And then you've got like AK dudes running around, and everything they're doing is with a 16-inch AK. You know, they get it done regardless. So if you're gonna have just one, you know, I would say do a 16-inch. But if you're gonna have multiple and you're looking for something a little bit shorter, I do highly recommend the 12.5. That's what I run. I've got the opportunity to run different lengths. That wouldn't be an issue. It's not like I'm stuck with this. So I do run the 12.5 for my shorter gun. For longer stuff, I run an 18-inch. And just realized I'd done that entire video with my hood on, and I told myself not to do that, but I got down here, got set up, and completely forgot. But hopefully you picked up on something. This is, like I said, my, whatever you want to call it, general purpose, GPR, whatever, Wade from whatever it is. Big Dude with Beard does a predator hunting podcast. He done an overview of his rifle that would be comparable to this, and he called it his farm rifle or ranch rifle or something like that. That's typically the terminology that I go with. As I said, you know, kind of surrounded by animals, so there's varmints and stuff around. So this is like my farm gun. It's the one I grab in the middle of the night if I hear coyote or whatever outside. Have had to do that. Go out and you know, pop the varmint. If you don't have one, I do highly recommend getting 12.5, especially with the mid-length gas system. It's a phenomenal setup. A little bit longer than like an 11.5. So when you need to get out there on it, you know, I can get my hand pretty much all the way out there extended on the handguard. So it's super comfortable, super reliable, runs smooth suppressed. So again, everything in this, everything on this rifle, I do highly recommend. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. So that's the lead and steel all around carbine, the Otter Creek Labs polo-k suppressor, and the Zerotech Vengeance 1-6. By far my favorite LPVO. Definitely check it out if you are in the market. I will say one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that on this LPVO, from Zerotech, you'll notice this little ring right here, so that locks the ocular lens. So once you get the ocular lens set to your eye, you can go ahead and use that ring, lock it in, and it won't move around like other scopes will. I know I've had to use hockey tape and duct tape and witness marks and all kinds of stuff on other scopes to keep the ocular lens from moving and you know, messing up the vision in the scope. But this one, you don't have to worry about it. It locks in place, and that's something that is not on many LPVOs and is on none that I'm aware of in this price range. So if you're in the market for an LPVO, definitely check out the Zerotech. If you're in the market for any optics, definitely check out Zerotech. I love about everything, well, I do love everything that I have from them. So hopefully this video was somewhat entertaining. Make sure that you do go follow me on Instagram if you are on Instagram. At least check it out. You ain't got to follow me. My feelings won't be hurt. It's the same as this handle. It's Operator Overalls. A lot of really cool pictures, doing a lot of cool stuff with a lot of cool companies. So if you don't mind, go check out that Instagram page and maybe get some behind the scenes, a little bit more details on the different setups that you see on YouTube. If you do have any questions about this setup, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll try to answer every single comment that is on this video and on all my videos as much as I can. I mean, hopefully it gets to the point there's so many comments that I can't do that, but you know, either way, I'm gonna do my best to respond to the ones that I can. And thank you for watching.